I kind of made a reference to this in my last One Piece review, but after reading this chapter, it's become obvious that Oda is being very, very careful with what he shows us in regards to Elbaf, because we're not there yet in the story. We have to go eventually to that island, and if he shows us too much, then that can ruin the surprise. But also, if he shows us too little, it can make this flashback seem a little bit underwhelming. So he has to find a balance between those two things. We still have Cavendish in the cover story, and the only thing I noticed about that was this girl foaming at the mouth. Whenever I see something like that, my mind automatically just goes to King's Hockey, but then that wouldn't make sense because then the other girls would be knocked out as well. But yeah, it's One Piece, so when I see somebody fainting and foaming at the mouth, I just think about King's Hockey. So we start off the chapter, and this is what I mean about Oda being careful about what he shows. Notice that we don't get a full shot of the island, okay? In fact, we kind of get almost the exact same shot of the island that we got last week. We know there's something in the middle, near towards the edge of the page. There's a giant structure that is shaded, it's dark. But also, if you look at that very first panel, if you look behind the clouds, there is some kind of shading that is kind of vertical. You see, like, it almost looks like a trunk. I've said this before, it could be the Atom Tree, but you see some type of you see these shaded lines going upward behind the clouds. So we don't know what any of that is yet. I've heard people say that because Elbaf is the island of giants, it could be that one of these structures happens to be a beanstalk, kind of like, Jack and the Beanstalk with a giant. But we don't know. Now, we do know that Elbaf, or at least the culture of the giants, is kind of Oda is basing it on Norse mythology, okay? And there's a giant tree in Norse mythology called Yggdrasil. I'm going to show you a picture of it right now so you can check it out. Look at that. So look at the middle of this picture. Look at the mountain range, those sharp, sharp peaks. Kind of looks like what we see in this chapter. Now in the mythology, this tree also serves to connect different worlds. And I thought about this because I remember that in Skypiea, it was revealed that there's more than one way, all right, to go into Skypiea, and that there's actually some type of a path that connects different sky islands and stuff. So, do you think that if this is a tree that goes up, or if there's some type of a structure that goes into the clouds, do you think that this may be a way to get into all of these sky islands? Remember, Apu was running away from some boars and accidentally started running on this invisible path. So you never know. I hope that we get something out of this. I really do, because that's one of the things that to me is more interesting about Elbaf, how it connects to a broader, the broader world building of One Piece. So this could be a very good opportunity for Oda to tie all of these things in through Big Mom's perspective. There's also one ancient weapon that we know absolutely nothing about, and that's Uranus. Uranus in Greek mythology was the god of the sky, so it could be possible that the giants are hiding or know about the fact that they're actually in charge of this ancient weapon. And also, we can find out where the final fourth road poneglyph is. Nobody knows where that final road poneglyph is, so I really hope that Oda uses this flashback as an opportunity to show us a little bit more information on at least one of the things that I just got done mentioning. Now, in regards to Big Mom as a character in this chapter, oh boy, I guess it just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go with this. But first and foremost, I love her design. I mean, her design is adorable. I mean, as a fictional kid in a manga series, her design is perfect. It just fits her so well. It's consistent. It works great. Now, in terms of characterization, this chapter explains a lot about why Big Mom is how she is, and I'm not really sure that that's something that I'm comfortable with. It's not something that I necessarily wanted to know, because then I would begin to sympathize. I knew Oda was going to get me to sympathize with this blob. But, so here's the thing, right? She was abandoned when she was 5 years old on Elbaf. Her parents, there's a shot of her mother crying. She waited for them, they never came back. Carmel took her in, and she became her adoptive mother in a sense. Now here's the thing that Oda is to me making it quite clear, all right, that Big Mom, Lin Lin, is actually a person that in the beginning was not evil, all right? She was not a monster, but she had a mental disorder. And there's a difference between somebody being bad and somebody being sick. So Big Mom, first and foremost, she couldn't control her strength. It's obvious. I mean, dude, she one-shotted a grizzly bear. Man, when she was 5 years old, just one shot, she took down a grizzly bear. and by the end of the chapter, she just trashes these giants and destroys the village. Now, this would be an impressive feat for an adult, let alone a 5-year-old little kid. I mean, I'm saying, like, this chapter explains, like, wow, Big Mom, like, now it makes sense. It makes sense. You earned that title of Yonko, no doubt. Now, here's the thing, right? Because in a previous video, I kind of questioned why is Big Mom always relying on Zeus and Prometheus? And at first, I interpreted that as a weakness of her not having physical feats. But now it's like, no, I mean, the physical feats are there. And so it got me thinking that maybe the reason for why she relies so heavily on her devil fruit ability is because maybe she's afraid, maybe she's self-conscious about her own strength because of her traumatic past. We've only seen her like trash things like when she was, again, when she wanted the Croquembouche, you know, she was trashing all these buildings and stuff, and also when she was asleep. So to me, this makes it obvious that she does put effort into holding her physical strength back. So we've already established that Big Mom has some type of mental condition because of her cravings and the fact that she loses control and stuff. Now here's the thing, right? As a kid, I'll give her a pass. Why? Because she didn't know any better. As an adult, no. You cannot blame your mental condition, your mental illness, all right? And say, you can't use it as a justification and say, well, I'm sick, you know, so therefore I do all these crazy, like, inappropriate things. It doesn't work that way. As an adult, you have to take responsibility for yourself and learn to manage these things, okay? So when she goes out on a rampage on Whole Cake Island and kills her son, that's a problem. When she abuses her daughters, that's a problem. So this chapter does not redeem her in my eyes, because for her to be redeemed, in my opinion, she has to put in work. She has to put in the effort to try and manage her illness, her disease. Maybe she can ask Law for help, or Chopper. Big Mom destroys the village and knocks out a couple of giants by the ending. And again, that's a very impressive feat for a 5-year-old. But I think it's important to just keep in mind that this may be like maybe one of the weakest villages in Elbaf. Now there's no doubt in my mind that this is just one little portion of Elbaf, because in the chapter it was mentioned that there's even a castle and that's where Loki was born. So this is just one little part of Elbaf, and we have, like, I'm not gonna say like the fodder there, but Harjundin, you know, I mean, yes, he's now a captain. He's like one of the commanders for the fleet, and he did defeat Mac Weiss, but he also got one-shotted by Gear 2nd Luffy in the Colosseum. So I'm just trying to put things into perspective. We have Oimo and Kashi in the chapter as well. That was a cool reference, and they're actually debating about whether or not to go look for their captains, right? And we know from Enies Lobby that they eventually do go out to find Brogy and Dory, but they're actually lied to by the Marines, and they're made to stay in Enies Lobby and work for them as guards. And they're not necessarily weak, but I do remember that they kind of got dealt with, you know, kind of easy. So again, just putting things into perspective, Brogy and Dory are obviously still fighting in Little Garden. And I also don't think that you would put an orphanage or this house that Caramel wanted to put, you wouldn't put it in a place where the top tiers are there, where the violent giants, where these very strong dudes would be, because then they would probably just kill the kids by accident. Also, Caramel's house of all races actually kind of explains a little bit more about why Whole Cake Island is the way that it is. It's also a place for different people of all races to come, because Big Mom is following, you know, her mother's footsteps. As I read the chapter, I was actually looking at these kids' faces to see if I recognized one of them, because it might be the case that one of these kids, or some of them, we actually know in the present, but none of them really seemed familiar. But let me know if you spotted somebody. We also don't know how strong Jarl and Yorl are, or Yarly and Yorly, whatever. Maltbeard and Fallbeard. We'll find out something about Fallbeard next week, because, you know, he's about to slash Big Mom. This would be a pretty cool moment for her to awaken her hockey, her King's hockey, but I'm not sure if it'll be strong enough to knock him out. Probably not. But we'll see. Also, just a quick reminder that Oimo and Kashi, the guards of Enies Lobby that I mentioned, are already present time in Elbaf. They actually said goodbye in Water 7, and they said they were going back to Elbaf. And they actually invited Usopp to come with them, because Usopp at that point in time had left the crew, and Usopp said, like, no, I'm gonna, you know, try and, you know, go back to the Straw Hats. So Usopp already has friends in Elbaf, and Harjunding knows him too because of the whole God Usopp thing. Anyway, I kind of want to know if Mother Caramel has some type of a devil fruit ability, because in the flashback, it actually says that when she stopped the Giants from being executed by the Marines. Like, the clouds turn dark, and then you see this light, this ray of light hitting her. So I don't know what the deal is with her. She's a pretty intriguing character. And I kind of get the feeling that once she stopped the Marines from executing the Giants, I think that's when the Marines started allowing the Giants to join into their ranks. The Marines do have Giants in their ranks, like Saul. Remember Saul? Jaguar D. Saul. Maybe it's Mother D. Caramel. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I thought the chapter was pretty good. I can't wait for Oda to show us more about Elbaf. Comment down below with thoughts. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to my channel for more One Piece stuff. Catch you guys later. Thank you.